You noticed that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra is ranked #1 in terms of videography in my ranking system, and we want to do a comparison with the Vivo X200 Pro, which is also fairly ranked very good. But what are the differences, and are the differences as huge as some people see or claim it to be? So let's get started. For this comparison, we start off with the front-facing camera of the Vivo X200 Pro, 4K 60 frames per second, because this is the maximum that you can do on this front-facing camera, and we keep it 4K 60 frames per second using the internal mics. It's pretty windy here. I hope you can still hear me on the X200 Pro. So what do you think about the quality here of the front-facing camera of the X200 Pro? 4K 60 frames per second now on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. This one has the advantage of being a bit wider, but also we have 1x zoom and we have 2x zoom if you need it, and we have even autofocus on this device, which is also quite nice, so we can focus on stuff if you want to show something in the camera. So how well does stabilization look like? How well is audio quality? How well is the video quality in general here on the Oppo Find X7 Ultra? Now the main camera sensor of the Vivo X200 Pro. I hope the audio quality is still good because it's pretty windy. It would be very great test for the audio quality here in this windy situation. So what do you think about this one here? 4K 60 frames per second. Of course I can switch between all lenses, not to the front-facing lens however, but I can go to the ultra-wide angle. This is how the ultra-wide angle looks like, and this is how it performs in terms of stabilization, colors and audio quality. So let's try to perform a little zoom test here. I have to make sure that Timmy is straight because I'm walking Timmy again, as you might see here. There he is. So let's go 3.7x and then 10x zoom, and we can go up to 20x zoom as you see here, and let's go perform back to 1x. So pretty smooth. What do you think about this one here? Still pretty windy, but now the Oppo Find X7 Ultra's main camera sensor, larger 1-inch type sensor, does it perform a bit better here? Of course 4K 60 frames per second, I can also switch between all lenses there. So let's go to the ultra wide angle with a tap of a button. There we go. This is the ultra wide angle, also pretty smooth and no issues there. Is it wider than the Vivo? Write it down in the comment section. And we want to do a little zoom test as well. I have to make sure Timmy is like staying straight here. You can see him there. So let's go directly to 3x. And then we can go up to 6x, and we can go up to 18x, which is very comparable to the Vivo X200 Pro, and then back to 1x. So which one do you think performed better? How well does this mono 1.28 size sensor of the Vivo X200 Pro perform in a bit of a lower light situation with a white background in this like tunnel that I'm going through basically? Actually it's the gate of the Citadel of Basel. So what do you think about this one here? Also the audio quality with lots of echoey probably. So now same situation on the Find X7 Ultra, larger 1-inch type sensor. How well does this work in terms of stability, in terms of colors, in terms of exposure, HDR? How does this larger 1-inch type sensor compete against the Vivo X200 Pro, and also the audio quality? What do you think? Which one is better? How good is the autofocus? As you see here, Timmy is pulling a little bit there. And yeah, we want to zoom in on this one here, see how good the autofocus is there. Can go to 10 times even if I want to. Let's pull it down to roughly 6 times to be able to compete with the Find X7 Ultra. Now let's go focus on something further away and then back here. Pretty instantaneous. What do you think? And a little zoom and autofocus test. As you can see here, Timmy is running around there. We want to focus on this one here, 3x zoom, 6x zoom. How good is the autofocus there? Going somewhere else, far away, maybe there, and back to here. Pretty fast on the Find X7 Ultra. And if you want to vlog with your phone, which I'm doing very often, how does the skin color look like here? How are the greens looking like? Vivo is notoriously, since the X100 Ultra at least, bad with face color. Always a bit too yellow, always a bit too punchy, always a bit too over sharpened and a bit too contrasty. And the green color here especially is like shining sometimes on the Vivo. So what do you think about this one here? Now we have the Oppo Find X7 Ultra. This one has pretty natural colors, sometimes a little bit more saturated there, but it doesn't have too much contrast there. It doesn't have too much sharpening applied, which I really like on the default camera application. So let's look at the green grass. How well does this look like and how does it compete with the Vivo X200 Pro? So which one do you prefer here? And what about zooming directly to 10x? It was like slightly out of focus, and then it captured the focus. There we have some birds, and let's go back to ultra wide angle. See this little blurry effect there on the Vivo X200 Pro. Same situation now on the Find X7 Ultra. Here I have only a 6x button there, directly go into 6x, but I can go up to 18x there. Detail level, I think it's better on the Vivo for sure. Let's go directly to the ultra wide angle. You can see it's a bit more smoother and doesn't have this like blur effect that the Vivo has. So quick and dirty autofocus test. The X100 Ultra had some issues with this, with large aperture and large sensor. Now here I think there is no issue with the X200 Pro. The autofocus is accurate and fast. How about the large sensor size Oppo Find X7 Ultra? Autofocus performance quite fast as well. Yeah, it's immediately there, snappy, and you get a bit more bokeh there. Low light support, Vivo X200 Pro, 4K 60 indoors. Let's go and see how well does it look like on this little Christmas tree here. 2x, 3.7x, and then 10x. So you see, it's pretty consistent. Let's check out how well it works with the Find X7 Ultra. Indoor light performance, Find X7 Ultra. As you can see here, a little Christmas tree there. How is the light performance here? When I zoom in as well, 3x, 6x, and back to 1x. What do you think? Now an indoors situation with a bit of artificial light to see how well the X200 Pro in a vlogging situation with the main camera sensor can keep up. This one also supports not only 4K 60 but 4K 120 frames per second, which is quite cool if you want to do some slow motions. This is something that the Oppo Find X7 Ultra doesn't have, so it doesn't have the capability to record 4K 120 frames per second. So what do you think about the quality here of this video 4K 60 on the main camera of the Vivo X200 Pro? Same situation now with the Oppo Find X7 Ultra, also 4K 60 frames per second and also using the internal mic. So what do you think about this one? Does it perform a little bit better than the Vivo? We have a larger sensor here, so it should in theory be a little bit better in terms of lower light capabilities, less noise. And what do you think about the colors? What do you think about stabilization? What do you think about the internal mics? So tell me everything in the comment section. Front-facing video, as you can clearly see, the X200 Pro has a bit of a yellowish kind of face there to it, but when we play back you can also see that it's a bit of stuttery. It's like the stabilization is not keeping up so well as it is on the Find X7 Ultra, that has way more stabilization, has a more flexible lens with the ability to have like a wider field of view by default, but you can even get wider or you can get even closer if you want to. So yeah, this is clearly a win for the Find X7 Ultra, together with the better, sharper colors and even autofocus. Front-facing camera definitely better on the Find X7 Ultra. Checking the main video, what you can see on the main camera is first of all the color difference. Again, we have a little bit more punchy and yellowish warmer colors on the X200 Pro and a bit of more cooler colors on the X7 Ultra. Look at the jacket, and the one on the X7 Ultra has the more accurate colors. The same goes for the building and the bricks there. This is just like not this red as it is seen on the X200 Pro. In terms of stabilization here, you can see that every step that I take has a little bit of a bump there. On the Find X7 Ultra, when I'm walking, you can see it's less of a bump there. So yes, the X7 Ultra has, I think, a bit of better stabilization. In terms of sharpness, also the X7 Ultra has a bit more sharpness. And when you take a look at the background there on the Vivo, you can see there's a bit of noise going on as well there, which we don't have on the Find X7 Ultra. It's very, very clean there. Then the ultra wide angle on both. Let's check it out. The animation is smooth, but you see already that there is a bit of there as well. It works fine and keeps the frame rate where there's a bit of blur on the X200 Pro. And when I walk around, you can see that every step that I take sometimes has a bit of blur in the background there. Again, when I stop the video, you can see the blur here. And with the Find X7 Ultra, there's no such thing. There is sometimes very rare, that there is on a step occasion some kind of blur. But usually it is way sharper than the X200 Pro, and this shows here immediately. And when we like go and try the zoom, here the X200 Pro first, and you see it has a bit of this blurry moment, and then it works fine, and it's very sharp. Let's see what the Find X7 Ultra is doing there. It doesn't have this blur effect, at least not so strict, and it's switching lenses, but even with the 6x lens, in terms of detail level, it cannot compete with the 200 megapixel crop on the X200 Pro. So this is a definite win for the X200 Pro. Also going back to the wider angle, you can see the color difference in shift. Now it is a bit warmer on the Find X7 Ultra, where it's a bit cooler on the X200 Pro. And when we take a look at the greens, for example, they are a little bit warmer and more punchy on the X200 Pro still, which is something that you can clearly see there in comparison to the Find X7 Ultra. So the Find X7 Ultra has the more accurate colors still than the X200 Pro. In this example shot with the main camera sensor, we can see the backlit situation and how they handle it. You can see the X200 Pro has a bit of a shining glow around my face. So they try to handle it, but the glass is not the best there, which introduces this glow. What you can also see is that the Find X7 Ultra doesn't have it so much, but has a bit more overexposure of the sky there in the background, where the HDR is handled nicer on the X200 Pro. We see the greens again a bit more intensified on the X200 Pro, where it's a bit less intensified on the X7 Ultra. Also, you can see clearly that the X7 Ultra has the more background blur there. And if we let it run here, you can see it will change at one point where this blur or this overexposure on the face, this haze is going away. But the face keeps to be pretty soft there. How does it handle on the Find X7 Ultra? You can see that the Find X7 Ultra handles this a bit nicer, where the face keeps its sharpness and sharpness values all the time. The only thing that you will see in the background is that you have the overexposure even more intensified there. So this is now the direct comparison, where you can see it's a bit blurry here. Even if I go to full screen, you can see it's a bit blurry on the X200 Pro, where here it keeps it nice and sharp on the Find X7 Ultra. So yes, it's a clear win for the Find X7 Ultra, in my opinion. What do you think? I will not go through all the videos that I created, but I wanted to show you one example. Is this video with the autofocus test on the X200 Pro. It's so blurry when I move around. You can see it all over the place there in the background. You really see that it has some issues with this lower light situation. So you go into a bit of a darker place, everything gets a bit blurry. The autofocus performance is quite fast there for sure, but no competition to the Find X7 Ultra, which has everything nice and sharp, and you get much nicer background blur there. And also in terms of colors, I think much nicer colors there. So yes, the Find X7 Ultra shows its superiority here against the Vivo X200 Pro. So you see now in the end, the Find X7 Ultra is camera king when it comes to video recording, even beating the iPhone with better HDR, especially at 4K 60 frames per second, very good stabilization and lens switching between all the main back lenses. Yes, the Vivo has the ability to switch between front and back, only at 4K 30 frames per second, so this is a slight downgrade to the X100 Ultra. I think Vivo improved certain things like low light scenario. There was a lot of smearing on the X100 Ultra everywhere. On the X200 Pro, I think they improved it, especially with the indoors video. You saw it, that there's not so much smearing going on, even though there was a little bit of light going on still. But I think Vivo still has to improve a bit in terms of videography. In terms of photography, they are top of the pops, But in terms of videography, we have the Oppo Find X7 Ultra that, in my opinion, even beats the iPhone 16 Pro. So what is your opinion? Write it down in the comment section. What do you think about such comparisons? Write it down there as well. Until the next time, bye.